Have you ever reached that breaking point where the pain was louder than the love? Where the lies, the gaslighting, the cycles of apology and abuse finally shattered the illusion? Leaving wasn't an option because staying had eroded my soul. The narcissist had weaponized everything, turning love into a battleground and trust into a casualty. I find myself at a crossroads, torn between loyalty to a dying marriage and the whispers of my intuition urging me toward a new path. My heart echoes with a profound sense of loss, a deep yearning for the love we once shared. But amidst the wreckage of broken promises, I must confront a painful reality. There may be no salvaging this relationship. The narcissistic games have taken their toll, leaving me battered and weary. How much more can I endure before I lose myself completely? What is the breaking point for survivors of narcissistic relationships? And when you reach it, how does your life change? How does it impact your spirituality? If you are experiencing this and wondering the same thing, then this message is for you. I hope it brings you some clarity, comfort, and strength. Welcome back to our channel, the place where we unlock the power of the spirit in you. Thank you for being part of our community. Please subscribe if you're new here. Walking away from a narcissist is not just an emotional decision. It is a spiritual shift, a declaration in the spirit realm that says, I will no longer bow to manipulation. I will no longer tolerate spiritual oppression. You are essentially cutting off the chains that have been binding you in this toxic relationship. In that moment, that act of defiance against the manipulations of a narcissist is like a trumpet blast announcing freedom. But freedom, my friends, is a double-edged sword. It feels exhilarating, yet terrifying. On one side, it promises liberation and growth. On the other, it echoes with uncertainty and fear of the unknown. But you know what? Fear not. For in walking away, you have chosen faith. Not just in yourself, but in a power greater than any toxic relationship. You have stepped into the light, and with each step, you shed the darkness that the narcissist tried so hard to keep you in. This is a journey of healing, and I want you to remember this. Healing is not a straight line. There will be moments of joy, and there will be times of intense longing and despair. Some days, you'll feel invincible. Others, you'll question every choice. But I'm here to tell you, you are stronger than you think. Walking away from a narcissist takes courage. It means confronting the monster under the bed, acknowledging the elephant in the room, facing the truth head-on. It means accepting the pain, the heartache, the disappointment, the betrayal, all of it, and choosing to rise above it. It's not easy, but it is necessary. Why? Because every scar tells a story of resilience. Every tear carries the strength to wash away the hurt. Every moment of courage brings you closer to wholeness. You might wonder, why would a narcissist let you go? Wouldn't they fight harder, beg and plead, do anything to make you stay? Well, here's the paradox of narcissism. They hate losing control, yet sometimes they let go precisely because they know they've lost all control. They've pushed you too far. They've crossed a line beyond which there is no return, and when that happens, they become resigned, even indifferent. Why? Because they thrive on admiration and praise. But when you walk away, they realize they can't make you stay. They can't force you to listen. Their control is failing, and that terrifies them. But here's the beautiful part. Their loss of control is your liberation. You see, in the realm of narcissism, the only constant is chaos. The narcissist needs drama to feed their ego. But as you detach, you bring peace. You step into the quiet strength that comes from letting go. Now you might think this is where the story ends, but it's just beginning. Detachment, my friends, is not just a goodbye. It's a do-over, a chance to rewrite your narrative. It's saying, I won't settle for less than I deserve. I won't compromise on my happiness or my peace. This is where you reclaim your identity. You were once defined by the relationship, by the narcissist's expectations, by the societal pressures. But now, you get to redefine yourself on your terms. This is where you set boundaries, not just for the narcissist, but for yourself. You learn to say no, to prioritize your well-being, to value your emotions. And here's the transformative part. In doing so, you honor your authenticity. You allow your true self to shine through. And that, my friends, is truly empowering. But here's the secret. In walking away, you have awakened a sleeping giant. You might not see it at first, but I assure you it's there. You have unleashed the power of heaven, the divine energy that was dormant within you. It's like a seed that was buried deep, waiting for the right moment to sprout. Walking away became that catalyst. Now you might ask, how does this work? How can leaving a narcissist awaken heaven? Well, let me explain. The enemy loves to keep us bound, shackled by fear, guilt, obligation, anything that holds us back. But when you walk away, those shackles fall off. You break free from the chains that were designed to keep you small. And in that moment of freedom, you tap into a divine power that knows no bounds. You might not feel it immediately. The enemy will try to hold you back. He will send doubts, fears, distractions, anything to keep you from your purpose. But here's the truth. The moment you walked away, you shifted the spiritual dynamic. You created a crack in the enemy's armor. And once you start moving forward, he loses all power over you. His tactics fail. His whispers turn to screams, and his grasp weakens with every step you take. You see, the enemy cannot stand true freedom. He recoils in the face of genuine joy, authentic happiness, and most importantly, unwavering faith. When you walk away from a narcissist, you embrace these qualities, and that scares the living daylight out of the enemy. Remember, the enemy's greatest weapon against you was the narcissist. They used manipulation, deceit, and love bombing to keep you trapped. But now that you've left, that weapon is neutralized. You are no longer under their spell. Instead, you are basking in the glow of your newfound freedom. So here's the deal. You've walked away from a narcissist, and that in itself is a monumental achievement. But now you must move forward. Don't look back. Don't second-guess yourself. Don't let guilt or pity pull you back in. Instead, focus on the road ahead. Embrace the journey. All the best parts of your life are waiting for you on that road, and I want you to remember this. Walking away from a narcissist doesn't make you selfish. It makes you strong, resilient, compassionate, because you've chosen to extend that same compassion to yourself. It's not easy, but it's essential. And when you do, you'll find yourself bathed in a new kind of light, a light that shines brighter than any darkness the narcissist could throw your way. You are no longer just surviving. You are thriving. You're becoming the person you were always meant to be. So keep moving forward. Trust in the journey, and know this, you are not alone. We are with you every step of the way. Do you resonate with these points?
Oh.
Feel free to share your experiences in the comments below. Remember, your story has the power to heal and inspire others. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Stay tuned for more insightful content. Thanks for watching. Take care. You walking away wasn't just a breakup. It was a spiritual event. It disrupted a dark pattern, severed an emotional stronghold, and exposed the narcissist to something they dread more than anything: powerlessness. See, narcissists thrive on control. They carefully curate the illusion that you need them, that your happiness depends on their attention, that your identity is tethered to their validation. And when you finally walk away, you break that illusion. You tear down the idol they made of themselves, and spiritually, that creates fallout. Suddenly, the narcissist is forced to confront their emptiness, but they won't show it. Instead, they'll double down. They'll slander you, guilt you, pretend they've moved on, but inside, it's panic, because their ego was never meant to stand alone. It only thrives when it's feeding off someone else's light. And now, your light is gone. They might retaliate. They might reach out, love bomb you again, try to drag you back into the cycle. But this time you know better, because now you understand something the enemy never wanted you to know. Freedom has a price, but bondage costs your soul. And you've chosen the better way. Let's look at the story of Pharaoh and Moses. God told Pharaoh again and again to let his people go, but Pharaoh hardened his heart, refused to lose control. And what happened? His own pride led to destruction. It's the narcissist. When they lose their grip, they panic. Then they harden. Then they spiral. Proverbs 16:18 warns us, pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. And narcissistic pride is no exception. The spiritual fallout begins the moment you remove yourself. It's like pulling the plug on a toxic power source. And here's the irony. While they're unraveling in secret, God is rebuilding you in silence. You're being restored, strengthened, cleansed from years of emotional and spiritual manipulation. That's what they never expected for you to rise without them. They assumed you'd come back. They always do. But this time, you've chosen healing over history, peace over chaos, God over ego. Okay. And God honors that. Isaiah 41:10 declares, "Fear not, for I am with you. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." That promise isn't for the narcissist who played God in your life, it's for you. It's the one who finally trusted the real God enough to walk away. And as the narcissist begins to feel the void you left behind, remember this: their downfall doesn't require your presence. It only needed your absence. You are the one who walked away from the chains that bound you to a life of disappointment and despair. You turned your back on the shackles of low self-worth and self-blame that kept you from soaring. And as you took that step, a profound truth echoed in your heart. Freedom comes at a price, but bondage is far more costly. It's costing you your peace, your joy, your very soul. But you chose to pay the price, didn't you? You chose to break free. And in that moment, something remarkable happened. A transformation began within you. You started to heal, to grow, to become the masterpiece God had always intended you to be. And guess what? This transformation terrifies the narcissist because it challenges everything they hold dear: their carefully crafted facade, their false sense of superiority, their need for control. You see, the narcissist lives in a world of illusions. They've built a tower of cards that reaches for the heavens, all to hide the gaping hole in their soul. When you walked away, you blew that illusion to smithereens and shattered their carefully constructed facade. Imagine how terrifying that must be for them. Their whole world is crumbling down around them. You see, the narcissist needs constant admiration. They crave praise like a drug. When you walked away, you took away the audience, leaving them with nothing but the echoes of their own hollowness. As you continue to heal and grow, you might find the narcissist trying to pull you back in. They may dangle promises like bait, hoping to lure you back into their web. Maybe they'll lash out, sending messages filled with anger and resentment. But remember, you've already paid the price for freedom. You woe and be swayed by empty promises or threatened by their anger because you've chosen the path of healing. You've chosen growth. You've chosen God. Look at the story of Joseph and his brothers. Remember when Joseph, after years of hardship and betrayal by his own brothers, became the powerful viceroy of Egypt? When they finally came to him seeking food, Joseph could have easily let his anger and resentment get the best of him. After all, they had sold him into slavery, causing him immense suffering. But instead, he forgave them. He chose to release the bitterness and anger, understanding that holding on to those negative emotions would only hurt him more. And in doing so, he didn't just set himself free, but also opened the door for reconciliation. He showed them kindness and compassion, transforming his enemies into friends. This is the essence of forgiveness and moving on. It's not about condoning or forgetting what they did, but about releasing the negative energy that's binding you. As you continue to heal and grow, you may still encounter moments when the old patterns and beliefs resurface. Maybe you'll find yourself doubting your worth, questioning your abilities, or fearing being alone. But don't give in. Remember, healing is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, twists and turns. But with each step you take, you're becoming stronger, more resilient, and more compassionate. The narcissist may try to make you feel inadequate, but you're not. You're a work in progress, a masterpiece in the making. You're becoming the best version of yourself. So keep moving forward. Embrace the healing, cherish the growth, and above all, trust in God's plan for your life. Remember, the narcissist needs you to stay stuck. They need you to keep blaming yourself, to keep seeking their approval, because that's what feeds their ego. But you won't play their game anymore. You won't let them define your worth. You'll define it for yourself. And as you do, you'll discover that your value is immeasurable. You are priceless. In your healing, you might find the narcissist reaching out, pretending to care, offering apologies they don't mean, promising to change when they won't. Don't fall for it. You've seen through their facade. You know their tricks. And most importantly, you know your worth. You are not a pawn in their twisted game anymore. Healing is a process, but with each step, you're reclaiming your life, your identity, your very soul. You're rediscovering who you are outside the distorted mirror they held up to you. You're embracing your unique gifts, talents, and dreams. With every passing day, you're becoming more vibrant, more authentic, more alive. The narcissist doesn't want you to heal, because then they lose their power over you. When you're healed, you're free. And in that freedom, you realize that you are strong, capable, and worthy of love. Look at the story of Job. Remember how Job, despite losing everything, remained steadfast in his faith and integrity. Even when his so-called friends offered their misguided comfort and solutions, he didn't let them define his pain or his faith. He knew that his suffering had a purpose, a spiritual depth that transcended their limited understanding. Similarly, you may face challenges and doubts as you heal and grow, but remember, your pain has a purpose too. It's shaping your resilience, deepening your empathy, and refining your spirit. And when you emerge from this process, you'll be more compassionate, more understanding, and more forgiving, not just towards others, but most importantly, towards yourself. As you heal, you might find the narcissist attempting to undermine your growth. They'll tell anyone who will listen that you were the problem, that you were too sensitive, that you misunderstood their intentions. But guess what? Their words hold no weight anymore. You've already done the hardest part, which is facing your trauma and choosing to heal. You've chosen to reclaim your narrative, and that's what truly matters. You are not defined by their lies or their projections. You're defined by your actions, your choices, and your values. And as you continue to heal, you'll attract positive influences into your life. People who uplift and support you, who believe in your dreams and cheer you on. These connections will nourish your soul and strengthen your resolve. Remember, healing is a testament to your strength, not a weakness. You're not broken. You're becoming whole. You're not weak. You're becoming powerful. And as you embrace this journey, you'll discover that the narcissist's loss is your gain. Their absence will become your blessing. Why? Because it forced you to confront your pain, to acknowledge your trauma, and to choose healing. You chose to walk away from the darkness and step into the light. And in that light, you're becoming free. There's something sacred about silence after the storm. When the chaos fades away and the rain subsides, leaving behind a world washed clean, there's this beautiful stillness, a moment of quiet that speaks volumes. This moment mirrors the profound peace we can experience within ourselves. When we navigate the turbulent waters of narcissistic relationships and emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The silence after the storm is a time for reflection, for healing, and for growth. It has a chance to look back at the journey we've been through and to appreciate how far we've come. But most importantly, it's an opportunity to move forward with renewed clarity, determination, and strength. After you have done all the work, after you have walked out and stopped looking back, after you have left the fog of cognitive dissonance behind, after you have endured the roller coaster of emotions, there comes a point when God does a new thing. After all the tears, the doubts, the confusion, the manipulation, the gaslighting, the deception, the lies, the betrayals, the devaluing, the rejection, the abandonment, and the grief, God tends to his garden. In the silence after the storm, God moves in ways you'd never imagine, not in thundering proclamations, not in dramatic displays, but in the gentle whisper of restoration. That's when God starts speaking. Not through loud noises, but through a deep inner knowing. A knowing that washes over you like a warm wave, carrying with it the soothing balm of peace, the steadying touch of calm, and the comforting embrace of safety. At this point, you realize that the journey you endured wasn't in vain. The pain, the struggle, the confusion, it all led you to this moment of profound inner transformation. This is a moment when you start to understand the depth of your strength, the resilience of your spirit, and the boundless capacity of your heart to love and to heal. As you bask in this newfound understanding, a surge of gratitude fills your being. You are grateful for the scars that tell the story of your survival, for the tears that cleansed your soul, and for the strength that emerged from the depths of your despair. And then comes the most beautiful part, the realization that you are not alone. The silence after the storm reveals the presence of God, not in the roar of the wind or the crash of the waves, but in the small, seemingly insignificant details of life. A bird singing on a nearby branch, the gentle rustling of leaves, the warmth of the sun on your skin. These everyday occurrences take on a new meaning, becoming signs of God's love, reminders of his presence, and symbols of the hope that has returned to your life. You start to see that the storm, as painful as it was, served a higher purpose. It cleared away the old, making space for the new. It washed away the dirt, revealing the hidden beauty beneath. It calmed down the chaos, allowing order and peace to return. You realize that the silence after the storm is not just a moment of quiet, but a time of profound transformation. It's a season of renewal, a time to rebuild your life on a stronger, more solid foundation. With newfound clarity, you set about the task of rebuilding your life. You carefully lay each brick, taking your time to ensure that the foundation is strong, the walls are sturdy, and the roof is secure. As you work, you find a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that you are creating a home that is truly yours. And as the days turn into weeks, and the weeks into months, you find yourself growing stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. You have learned to appreciate the simple things in life, the beauty of nature, the warmth of the sun, the laughter of children, and most importantly, the unwavering love of God. You also learn to embrace change, to welcome new experiences, and to trust in God's plan for your life. The silence after the storm becomes a source of strength, a reminder of how far you've come, and a guidepost for the journey ahead. Remember the story of Job, who after enduring immense suffering, emerged with a deeper understanding of God, himself, and the world around him, or the Israelites who wandered in the desert for 40 years. A period of testing and refinement that ultimately prepared them to enter the promised land. Your journey may not have been as long or as intense as theirs, but the principles remain the same. Hardships, when endured with faith, can lead to profound growth and transformation. As you continue to grow and heal, you may encounter others who have experienced similar storms. And when you do, you will have a unique ability to connect with them, to understand their struggles, and to offer them the support and guidance they need. You become a beacon of hope, a living testament to the power of resilience, and a symbol of the transformative power of the silence after the storm. But here's the paradox. As you ascend to new heights, as your wings grow stronger, your desire to soar above the limitations imposed by earthly circumstances, as you leave the toxicity of the narcissist behind, they will notice your elevation. At first, they might try to bring you back down, to pull you back into the darkness they inhabit. They might try to manipulate you, to guilt you, or to threaten you, hoping to make you feel the same suffocating fear you felt before. But by this point, you're no longer the person they once manipulated. You've grown, you've healed, and you've found your voice. You recognize their attempts for what they are, mere echoes of the past, and you refuse to let them hold you back any longer. Think of the story of Joseph, who after enduring years of imprisonment, rose to become the ruler of Egypt, only to be tested by his own brothers who had sold him into slavery. Or the prophet Elisha, who when he was about to receive a double portion of the spirit of his mentor, Elijah, was challenged by a group of mocking children. In both cases, those who meant to harm the protagonists ended up inadvertently contributing to their rise. Just as Joseph's brothers and Elijah's mockers soon realized the error of their ways. Those who try to bring you down will also come to understand the futility of their efforts. Your elevation is not a threat to them. It's a testament to your strength and a reflection of their own limitations. As you continue to rise, you may encounter envy, jealousy, and even resentment from those who remain stuck in their own struggles. But you must remember that their negativity is a sign of their own darkness, not a reflection of your own light. Let their disbelief fuel your determination, or mockery inspire your perseverance, and their negativity serve as a reminder of why you must keep moving forward. As you ascend higher and higher, the challenges will become greater. There will be times when you doubt your ability to keep going, when the weight of your past seems too heavy to bear, and when the fear of falling returns. But with each challenge, you will grow stronger, more resilient, and more determined than ever before. The silence after the storm is not just a moment in time. It's a state of being. It's a way of life. It's a testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity and to find peace in the midst of chaos. It's a reminder that even after the darkest of nights, the sun will rise again. Embrace the silence, my friend, for in its quietude lies the melody of your healing. Trust in the melody, for it is the soundtrack of your liberation, and dance to its rhythm, for it is the beat of your freedom. I know we're all trying to hang on to hope here. We all want our families whole and happy and healed. But let's say it plainly. Not every relationship is meant to be restored. Some separations are God-ordained deliverance, not temporary misunderstandings. When God removes a narcissist from your life or gives you the strength to walk away, He's not just protecting you from what they did, He's protecting you from who they will never become. Narcissists don't change through confrontation. They adapt to manipulation. They don't repent when caught. They rebrand their image, and that's why God establishes divine boundaries. Boundaries that are spiritual, protective, final. When you keep praying for reconciliation with someone God already removed, you're asking Him to rebuild what He lovingly dismantled. You're trying to bless what He has already judged. That's why, no matter how many times you try to go back, it falls apart again. It's not the devil blocking it, it's God. In Jeremiah 7:16, God told the prophet, "Do not pray for this people, nor offer any plea or petition for them. Do not plead with me, for I will not listen to you." That's harsh, right? But it shows something crucial, Evan. God's mercy has boundaries. When someone continually resists truth, manipulates grace, and abuses love, they harden their heart, and God responds accordingly. So if God has told you to walk away, trust that His no is also a protection. It's not bitterness, it's boundary. Boundaries are holy. Many believers confuse forgiveness with access. They think, if I truly forgive, I have to stay connected. No, forgiveness frees you. Boundaries protect your calling. God will not elevate you into purpose while you're re-dragging the weight of someone He already freed you from. I know the enemy would love for you to see this as a defeat for you, for your family. And so, he whispers lies in your ear. Look at you. Look at how much you've lost. All those years, all those hopes, all those dreams. Why would God do this to you? The enemy tells you you're not strong enough to live alone, to face the future without your partner, your spouse. And then shame comes in. You were too quick to judge, too fast to walk away, too blind to see what you had. This is a familiar lie because God seems slow sometimes. He seems silent. He seems absent. But in His silence, there's an important lesson to learn. After God delivered Israel from Egypt, He led them for 40 years in the wilderness, and some wanted to return to Egypt. I can relate to that, right? Better the known than the unknown. Easier to endure slavery than to trust God's leading, and that's how we feel sometimes. But God says He wants to show us something beyond the wilderness, something more glorious than the golden calf. He wants us to look up. As women, we have a unique challenge because we're wired for connection and compassion. Our nurturing instincts drive us to mend broken relationships, even when God has clearly walked us out. We see the pain our spouse caused, and instead of resting in God's comfort, we try to fix it, reconcile it. And this leads us to endless frustration, because once you've experienced God's freedom, trying to go back feels like walking uphill. You don't just lose motivation, you lose clarity. In Isaiah 32:21, God says, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, my hand will be against you, my eye will be on you. I will teach you whose children you are, and you will call me your Father." This is God promising protection while you're learning your identity. You're His child, and He's your Father. God sees your tendency to chase after a failing marriage, and He promises to intervene before you lose sight of your identity. He will remind you, stop, you're mine. So when you feel compelled to go back, ask yourself, what voice am I hearing? It's God's or my fleshly desires? Often our flesh wants to convince us we heard God when actually it's whispering its own needs. Maybe you fear being alone. Maybe you long for family wholeness. Maybe you hope your spouse will change. But God's calling you to set your hope in Him, not your spouse. When my husband left me in January, my instinct was to fix it. What could I do? How could I change? How could I win him back? My flesh was screaming, "You failed. You lost. How could God do this to you?" But you know what? God was still speaking. If I had stopped listening to Him in favor of chasing my husband, I wouldn't be standing here today. I wouldn't have the strength, the peace, the joy. I wouldn't have written the book I wrote. I wouldn't be standing here today because I stopped listening to my flesh and started listening to God. It's not easy. But when you hear God's voice, it's undeniable. It's what He tells you is beautiful. He says, "I am your healer. Come to me and rest." Let me say this plainly. God does not call you to save your spouse. He calls you to survive them. And He doesn't promise that you'll win them back. You've survived the storm, but the ship is wrecked. It's okay to grieve the loss, but but don't try to salvage it. God has removed your spouse for a reason. Trust me, it's not because you weren't good enough. It's because they're not healthy enough. They're not ready. They're not willing to come back to you. And by salvaging the pieces, you're trying to build a new ship with broken boards. It won't last. The waves will tear it apart. God's removing you from this marriage is for your good. You're not being punished. You're being protected. And that protection extends to your future. Proverbs 22:24-25 warns us, do not make friends with a hot-tempered person. Do not associate with one easily angered, or you may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared. You see, when you keep going back, you're reopening old wounds. You're letting in the same toxic air. You're giving another chance to what God already closed. And when you do, you start losing yourself. Your intuition becomes clouded. Your boundaries become blurred. Your identity shifts. You were once strong, resilient, hopeful. Now you're back to doubting, questioning, fearing. You're trying to be someone you're not. God wants you to know you don't have to pretend anymore. Your real identity is secure. Your worth isn't tied to your relationship status or marital vows. You're valuable because you're His child. And this identity is unshakable, unchangeable, eternal. Embrace it. Now, I know forgiveness is hard, especially when your spouse hasn't asked for it. But remember, forgiveness isn't for them. It's for you. It's not about condoning their actions. It's about releasing the anger inside you. It's not about forgetting what happened. It's about freeing your heart to dream again. My husband cheated on me for months. He had an entire secret life I knew nothing about. I felt betrayed, heartbroken, angry. I wanted revenge. I wanted justice. But I knew God called me to a higher way. So I forgave him. Not because he deserved it, but because I needed it. It wasn't easy, but as I forgave, a burden lifted. As I released the anger, I found peace. I know this journey can seem lonely, but you're not alone. God walks with you. He sees your tears. He hears your prayers. He feels your pain. He knows your fears. Trust me, I've been in your shoes. There are days I still struggle, but I've learned to lean on God, to seek wise counsel, to find strength in other survivors. Don't settle for a loveless marriage, a loveless union. God deserves your best, your whole heart, not a fractured one. Your story isn't over. God's just writing a new chapter. Hold on to hope. Lean on God and watch Him write your next best chapter. Because I know who rules in my life now. I know who protects my children and me. I know who holds my future in His hands. And it's not my ex-husband. It's my Heavenly Father. He is my healer. He is my protector. He is my provider. And He is my friend. Thank you. Hey everyone, have you ever had someone in your life who wronged you so deeply that the only thing you could do was walk away? Perhaps it was a toxic boss who made every day at work a living hell. Or maybe a friend who betrayed your trust in the most hurtful way. Whatever the case may be, you chose to exit that situation and move on with your life. But then you started hearing rumors. Rumors that the person who hurt you was doing well. In fact, better than ever. They were getting promotions, recognition, and praise. Meanwhile, you felt nothing but pain, anger, and a sense of injustice. Why were they being rewarded when they didn't deserve it? Listen, if the Bible says anything about God, it's that He is patient. Yet His patience is not a sign of approval or permission for things to continue. For a season, He might allow the narcissist to appear successful and happy, but behind the scenes, everything is crumbling. Yes, quietly and slowly, completely. Their downfall doesn't start with a public explosion. It begins with emptiness. Because when you walked away, the power source was cut. The admiration is gone. The control is lost. And without you, there's no mirror left for them to reflect their delusions. Romans 12:19 reminds us, "It is mine to avenge. I will repay," says the Lord. Those are not empty threats, but a divine promise. You don't need to get even. Just step back and let God finish what you couldn't, and He will do it beautifully. Whether through public exposure or internal breakdown, the unraveling will come. The image they built will crumble. Their false sense of peace will vanish. No one can mock God's order and prosper forever. Psalm 37:35 says, "I have seen a wicked man flourishing. Like a tree, he is rooted in brightness. After he had reached full growth, he brought forth fruit, and it was found to be the fruit of a poisonous tree. Notice the word found. The person who walked away from this toxicity was not the one who discovered the rottenness within. It was those who stayed around long enough to witness the stinking branches and shriveled leaves. But the person who walked away didn't have to see the decay, because they were entangled in its mess. They didn't have to watch it rot, because they weren't attached to it anymore. You see, while the narcissist may seem to be thriving, their existence is now devoid of genuine connection, authentic emotions, and true fulfillment. They might have traded their soul for success, and if that's the case, no amount of fame or fortune can compensate for the spiritual emptiness that lies within. They've chosen a path where they're ultimately alone, even in a crowd. They're trapped in a prison of their own making, haunted by the echoes of their past actions. However, you, my friend, are not obligated to witness their demise. In fact, it would be a waste of your precious time, energy, and emotions to sit around waiting for their downfall. You don't need to watch their world crumble because you've already experienced enough of it yourself. Instead, focus on building your own life and let God handle the rest. What happens next is between them and their maker. Listen, you are not responsible for the narcissist's eventual exposure. You don't have to wait around to see justice served. You can't control what happens to them, but you can control how you respond. Don't waste your valuable time and emotional energy on something you can't change. You are blessed because you walked away. Your peace of mind, your mental health, and your self-respect are all evidence of your wise decision. So don't look back. The road ahead might not always be easy, but you're not alone. God is with you, and that's all that truly matters. Remember, their downfall is not your concern. Their exposure is not your responsibility. Your journey towards healing, growth, and happiness should be your primary focus. Let God deal with them. Trust me, He will do it far more effectively than you could ever imagine. And as for you, keep moving forward. Keep believing in yourself and your abilities. Embrace the challenges that come your way, knowing that they're only temporary. One day soon you'll look back on this moment and realize that it was all worth it. So go ahead, laugh at them. Let your joy be your revenge. Let your success be your masterpiece. Above all, let your peace of mind be your ultimate victory. You are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more loved than you can imagine. Don't wait for their destruction. You've already won. Welcome to Kingdom Vision Studios, where our words are inspired by God, and our mission is to speak life into your spirit. I have a message from God for someone today, a message of victory, of a battle fought and won, a war that ended not with a whimper, but with a roar. So listen carefully, beloved, because this declaration is for you if you will step into the light and let me read it to you. So here you are, you made it, not perfectly, not painlessly, but faithfully. You walked away when your soul was screaming to stay. You let go even when your heart hadn't caught up yet. And that decision, it shifted everything. You stopped begging for closure. You stopped waiting for change. You stopped explaining yourself to someone who never cared to understand you. And in that moment, the heavens took notice. Because the moment you gave up the fight to fix them, God picked up the sword. You see, your peace now is not accidental. It's evidence. It's evidence that God has stepped in. Evidence that the chains are broken. Evidence that justice has already begun. No, the narcissist didn't win. Their silence wasn't strength. Their arrogance wasn't authority. It was all a mask. One that's crumbling even as you listen to this. And you're rising. The tears you cried in secret, God counted them. Pain they dismissed as weakness, God remembered it. Sleepless nights, the aching soul, the confusion, the guilt, none of it was wasted. It was the soil for your transformation. Isaiah 61:2-3 says He will give you a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. And that's what this peace is. It's beauty from ashes. It's divine evidence that God already stepped in and silenced the storm. I say it again, do not go back. Don't reopen the door. Don't water what God has already uprooted. Walk boldly into this new season. So where you're headed is too sacred to carry the shadows of where you've been. Let your peace be loud. Let your healing be your answer. And let your joy be the judgment they never saw coming. Beloved, you've entered a season of divine liberation. It's time to put the shackles of fear and doubt to fire. As the scripture says, resist the devil and he will flee. This is your moment to declare, I am free. I am unstuck. I am unbound. I am healed. You may have felt like you were fighting alone, but the truth is, you never were. You had an army of angels, an army of saints, and most importantly, an army led by the living God himself. It's important to remember that narcissists thrive on one thing, and that's your reaction. They live for the drama, the chaos, the fear. So when you decided to walk away, when you chose you, when you let go, you essentially took away their oxygen. Think about it. No more arguments, no more justifications, no more tears. All they're left with is deafening silence, which, by the way, is their worst nightmare. Silence means they've lost control. Control they desperately need to feel powerful. But here's the paradox. That very silence, that very letting go, that very act of choosing you is what has brought you into this glorious season of peace. Peace that surpasses all understanding. Peace that guards your heart and mind. Peace that comes from the knowledge that you've done the right thing. You chose love over fear, you chose truth over lies, and you chose faith over doubt. I want you to visualize this. Imagine yourself walking away from the storm, from the drama, from the toxicity, and you're walking into a beautiful sunrise. The clouds are parting, the birds are singing, and the sun is shining just for you. That's the kind of peace you're stepping into. It's not an accident. It's intentional. It's a divine setup. God orchestrated it. This is your moment to celebrate, to praise, to dance, to laugh, to love, to live. Your season of blooming is here. Your season of flourishing is here. Your season of soaring is here. Don't waste it on the wreckage of yesterday. Don't carry the burdens of yesterday when God has given you wings to fly. Go now, therefore, and let your light shine. Go now, therefore, and make some noise. Go now, therefore, and take your rightful place in the sun. You are a masterpiece. You are a miracle. You are a monument of God's love, and your story is far from over. In fact, it's just begun. If this message resonated with your spirit, if these words ignited a fire within you, then take a moment and subscribe to Kingdom Vision Studios. And don't forget to share this with someone who needs to hear these words. You may just be the answer to their silent prayer. Until next time, walk good and keep shining.